Hey guys, back with another quick tip for you. Today we're going to be talking about how to avoid getting moisture in your vehicle when you're sleeping in it. We've been having this question a lot lately, so we thought we'd kind of give you our tips on how we try to beat the moisture problem. So you're probably, if you're living in your vehicle and you have a smaller vehicle like an SUV or a car, you will probably ultimately run into this at some point. Just from sleeping in it, it's too warm in the car, and if you're in cold weather, you will get moisture on your windows, and it's kind of a pain in the butt. But so, how do we deal with it? Well, at first we have two people in there and two dogs, so we generate a lot of heat in it. So we do get a lot of moisture at first. When we first started traveling, we had a problem a lot, but we were kind of staying in the kind of the Pacific Northwest and didn't really move much with the weather. So we were in a lot of colder weather and we were at a lot of elevation. So the mountains do get a lot colder than down below. So we had a lot of nights waking up and there was frost on the windows and things like that. And we realized we had a lot of water, like kind of seeping down through the dashboard onto like where our feet are at and stuff. So we figured that probably wasn't very good. So what we do now is we migrate, which we do that anyways, just because we like being in the warmer weather. So we go north when it's summer, and we go south when it's winter. So we stay out of the cold weather for the most part of the year. We obviously still do every once in a while because just going up in elevation, like I said, is kind of it gets colder, and you can't really predict the weather up there because there's really no weather stations or anything like that. So just like the last couple days, we run into snow and stuff, so we still have moisture in the vehicle. But we haven't really found a way to not get moisture in the vehicle, but we found a ways to kind of lessen it, I guess. So if you cannot migrate with the weather, or you can't move and stay out of the cold weather, then I guess the next tips are for if you can't, then these are what we do when we are kind of stuck in the cold weather. We always keep the windows cracked, at least two of them, so you can get some airflow through. So it doesn't, you're not just keeping the heat inside. So then, if the wind's blowing, it'll keep the inside at least a little colder. But the downside, it's colder in the vehicle. So obviously, when it's colder out, it'll be colder inside. So you got to bring more blankets, and that's why it's kind of nice to have the dogs because they stay in the back with you and they keep you warm. But you pretty much always have to have two open because if you just have one, it really doesn't circulate it as much. So if you keep two open, it keeps it moving. And also, if you use like the window screens in the front in your front windows for the sun and stuff like that, if you use those at night to like keep the lights out or anything, we find it works better if you don't use those, and because then the moisture kind of gets trapped behind it and it makes a lot more condensation in the morning. So if you don't use it, if you can avoid using those, it will at least have less moisture in the morning. You're still gonna have some, but it won't be as bad as before. And some other things like I said, we've had a lot of issues with water like dripping down in the mornings when it started like evaporating, or when it got warm out, the water would run down the window, and it would run down behind the dashboard and end up down by our feet, by the pedals and things like that, which is probably not good for the vehicle because that's where all the electronics and stuff are at. So we tried to figure out a way to minimize that, and so we started putting towels at night up in the windows underneath the sunscreens if we use the sunscreens, or we just laid them up like where the defroster's at, and then the water kind of got stuck in there so it wouldn't go down below anymore, which worked out pretty well. And along those lines, make sure you pick up anything that's on the floor if you're not going to use towels, or even if you are, I'd still suggest picking it up off the floor just in case, because we have lost like a few books from the water damage that decided to get on the floor, which we didn't think about. So we had to pick up all our books and notebooks and some other things on the floor and just put them on the seat, or just get them off the floor a little bit. So then you don't have to lose those. And then also you can get like fans now that go into the windows. You can get battery powered ones or solar powered ones. So if you're not going to be in cold that often, you might be able to get by with a battery powered one. But if you're going to be in the cold a lot, I would probably get a solar panel one because otherwise you're going to have to be buying batteries all the time, which aren't cheap, and you're going to be throwing them in the landfill. So definitely look for one of the solar panel ones. I think they have some on Amazon. We have one, but we just use it for the dog mostly when he gets hot. It's not really for the cold. So that be a good thing to check out too. And then some things people might not think of is just think of what direction you're parking at night when you're pulling to your spot. Just make sure your front of your vehicle is facing the sunrise. So then when you wake up, the sun will already be kind of defrosting your windows while you're sleeping, which is nice. And then if you put the towels down, it'll all pretty much defrost right into your towel, which works out great. And then your towel's just wet, but you can dry it out during the day. So that works out pretty well. And then if you do use like the sunshades, put those in your window, but put them in backwards. So then the black side's facing out, because then the sun will actually be attracted to it. So it'll actually get it warmer than it would if you didn't have them. So that seemed to be working out pretty well. And then lastly, if you still have moisture, I like to just run kind of the defroster in the morning instead of trying to wipe it down, because it just smears it all. And then when you're driving and it's sunny out, you get a lot of streaks on the window, which are a pain in the butt when you're driving. So if you're in a hurry in the morning, you can wipe it, but then you'll just have to clean it later, which everybody knows how fun it is to clean the inside windshield. It never really becomes streak-free anymore. But so those are most of our tips. They seem to work pretty good if you're still stuck in the cold weather, like I said. There's really no way to avoid it. But if you're in a bigger vehicle, I really don't think it's that big of a problem. Like the vans and things, I'm not sure if they still have that same issue. Most of them have fans and stuff on them that they can use, but they have a bigger area. But like I said, we have four animals, and we're in a small area, so it gets a lot of condensation at night. But we stay warm, so if the window's down, we'll be all right. So hopefully you guys found this handy. If you liked it, click the like button and make sure to subscribe to see our next quick tips. Hope you guys found this handy. See you next time.